First of all, Coach, I want to say congratulations
Thank you.
on the
Appreciate it.
position. All of this is yours now.
Yeah,
You're the head man.
Wild to think. Wild to think.
Okay, but I kind of want to go on a journey back down memory lane. In order to do that, I thought I would bring some pictures with me.
Oh, wow.
So the first one we're going to start with is this one.
Look at the goatee.
Tell me about this guy.
Yeah. Just learning that he's somewhat good at football, that he loves the game, starting to shave, trying to grow a beard at that time, but loving life and really enjoying the process of football.
What I thought was interesting about you is you really wanted to be Charles Barkley for a long. So
Yeah,
basketball was
yeah.
your sport.
I was a basketball fan growing up. Watched MJ, ironically. Watched Charles Barkley. Watched Shaq. Big Shaq lover.
Right.
But I knew I wasn't 7 foot, and I was obsessed with getting in the paint, getting rebounds. Learned early that there weren't a lot of 6'4" basketball players in the NBA, and figured out that football was going to be my sport after I got fouled out of a couple games in high school.
So when would you say you fell in love with the sport of football?
Probably end of senior year, really fell in love with the game, and then probably junior college, because you don't have as much and you're really learning what to do with less. Really loved the process of getting better, of working out, building a team, being a part of a team, and then the winning traditions we had there at Butler. That's probably when I really fell in love with the game.
Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yeah. Oh, that's about 320.
That was the first thing I was going to say. Where half of him is still here.
Yeah, he's still there.
Well, tell me about this guy, though.
Probably amazed at the opportunity that he had to go to such a prestigious school and play with great players and be around a great coach like Bob Stoops, and loving the process of life as well. And, probably a lot of thought process of, at that time my dad was in Iraq, and, only child, so always thinking about my mom and making sure that she was okay, but excited, to be at Oklahoma.
I read a lot about that process, that even sometimes your dad was living maybe in LA, you guys moved to Kansas to get a little bit closer to him, and what family meant during that time of adolescence for you.
So my parents were both from Trinidad and Tobago, and my dad came over to be in music and got recruited to be in the Air Force. So ended up in the Air Force, and then, we moved. I was born in Texas, lived Texas, Panama, California, England, New Jersey, then Kansas. Well, when I was in New Jersey, my dad was actually in California. So we'd spend most of our time, like 6 years of my life, I lived away from him. And we moved together in Kansas together to be closer and to be together. So family always means everything to me, especially my mom and dad.
With all of those stops, I have to think that that's taught you how to adapt in some ways.
Yeah.
How has that made you kind of the person you are, the coach you are today, too?
It's helped me just read people a little bit better and get to know kids from every different background. I feel like I can adjust with all different types of kids and all different types of people, and get to know them and kind of understand their story a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay, your story's continuing. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Try to get the right one. Okay, this one. I like this one.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we in the coaching journey here?
Thought it was Blaze, apparently, with the glasses. I was a GA at the University of Louisville at that time, and just figuring out that I loved the game even more, and I loved helping players, that I wanted to be a coach, that I wanted to be a great coach and be the best coach I could be.
So this is where you fell in love with coaching then. I was very curious, too, some of the people that had maybe poured into you a lot early in the journey.
Yeah.
Who were those coaches for you?
Number one was probably my high school coach, Tom Young.
Okay.
He's a Hall of Fame coach in Kansas. Number two was Troy Morrill. He was the head coach at Butler for me. And then Bob.
Yeah.
Bob was huge for me. I still talk to Bob on a regular basis. I actually we were just here on Saturday, watched him coach a UFL game and heard him talk. It just brought back memories of watching him. And then the next would probably be Charlie Strong. He's a guy that gave me my first opportunity to be a full-time coach. So he was huge in the process. And then, obviously, Coach Harbaugh, somebody that's like a brother to me, and I talk to on the regular.
So this brings up the last picture then, because I also just kind of loved.
Yeah. Oh, man.
What do you think when you see this picture?
We just won the Natty. I remember it like yesterday. We just won the Natty. I picked him up, and I heard him go, "Oh!" And then right after that, him and Jesse big hug. It was just all the triumph, all the things we went through last year to get that moment. Was super cool.
I hear a lot of stories about the first meeting with Harbaugh, the first interview, essentially. Take me through that first day, because that's a pivotal point in your coaching career, just getting the job. So describe that process.
So I'm at Central Michigan. I get the call from Dan Enos that asked if I'm interested in the tight end job here. I say absolutely. So I'm at the convention, and I leave the convention. I come back the next day. The convention, I leave the convention on National Championship Day. I come back. I drive here from Mount Pleasant, Michigan, which is about 2 hours north, and I'm just at the big house. I'm 2 hours early for the interview. I'm at the big house. I'm just like, wow. I remember I called my mom, and I said, Mom, I'm here. She's like, where? I'm like, I'm at Michigan. She's like, what? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh yeah, for the interview. I was like, and I just sat there in the car for about an hour before the interview, and just like, this is like real life. So I get to Schembechler Hall, and I go upstairs, and I meet Coach, and it's Coach, it's Pep Hamilton at the time, Tim Dreveno, it's Jack Harbaugh, it's Jay Harbaugh, it's Don Brown, and one of my mentors in the game, Dave Warbly, told me, hey, when you interview, make sure you show and teach like what you're really about. So I said, okay. So we get about 30 minutes through the interview. I talk about my history, family, all that, and then I take off my jacket and my coat, and I go to work individual drills on a chair. And if you know Coach Harbaugh, he loves football. So I get up, and he's like, yeah, show me, like show it on me. And then he's like, no, and he grabs a GA. He makes me do drills on the GA, and like by halfway through the interview, I'm sweating in this shirt, in a blue shirt, and I'm just going to work, and he's just loving it. He's spitting, chewing, and like the interview's like 4 hours long, and then he's like, "Hey, will you spend the night?" And I was like, "Coach, I don't have any clothes." He said, "Nah, it's fine. Hey, Gary, let's." He calls Gary. He gets me a bag of clothes. So he gets me a sweatsuit and stuff, and then takes me out there. I go out to dinner the next night, and I go in the hotel. I was like, well, I either got the job or I got a lot of nice Michigan clothes. So
win-win.
Yeah, great. So next day brings me back, and I put on the same suit with no tie, and he tells me I have the job. So pretty awesome.
And that kind of changes the trajectory of your entire career from there. So over the last 7 seasons, what do you feel like you've been learning here in Ann Arbor under Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, I've challenged myself, challenged other people. Just because you've done it before doesn't mean it's always the way to do it. Change is good, change is vibrant, you need it, and make people better, make yourself better. So I've learned to really change in different ways that I've never would have thought of, and really challenge people. And I think that's what he brought the best out in everybody, because I think a lot of times in life you're trying to be status quo and try to live at this straight line when there's ups and downs and things you need to do. He always called it healthy scrimmaging. What people called it arguments, he called it scrimmaging. And I think that is something that's really brought the best out in me and us as a program.
I'm gonna tell my husband that.
Yeah.
We're just having a healthy scrimmage
it's
right
a scrimmage.
now.
It's just
cool.
a scrimmage.
Yeah. Well, you had to do some unique things as an acting head coach, and I want to take you back to 90 minutes before the Penn State game. You find out for the first time, even though you knew it was possible, that you were officially going to be the acting head coach at that game. Take me back through what's going through your mind and just the moment that you find out something like that is happening.
Yeah, I'm standing in the end zone opposite Penn State's locker room, and always wore all black before game with my Michigan versus everybody shirt underneath. I'm listening to Meat Mill, Cold Hearted Part 2.
Obviously.
And our AD tapped me on my shoulder, says, hey, you got us today, go lead us to victory. And at the second, I was just like, what? What did you just say? And he's like, just go lead, you got us, we believe in you. And I said, all right, bet, cool, got it, let's go. But I just looked at the players. I looked at all the players. I remember watching Blake Corum and Mikey and Cornelius and Roman and the linemen. I was just like, okay, we got this. And at that moment, it was kind of a calm ease. As I'm walking to the locker room, it hit me again. It's like, you're going to be the head coach today. Like, make sure you don't mess this up. But it was awesome, just the players, how they reacted, how they played. It told the story of our culture and who we are.
And you had the audacity, that's what we're going to call it now, to call 32 straight run plays. Everyone will continue to bring that up, but while it's happening, what's the reason behind it?
You know what? People actually like, did you plan on doing that? No, I didn't. It was, we went through the first quarter, the ball wasn't moving the way we thought it should. It wasn't going the way we did. We went to the second quarter, and I vividly remember we had a package with 7 offensive linemen that came in the game. And it was just like the line of scrimmage just kept moving and moving and moving. I was just like, and I could feel the air coming out of the crowd a little bit. And I said, this is how we might have to win the game. And second quarter, we threw the ball a little bit more. And then the third quarter came, and the O-line looked at me, and they're like, it's going to be one of those games, huh? I was like, I think so. And we just proceeded to run the ball every, 32 times. I threw one pass. It was a play-action pass, but it was incomplete. It was a pass interference.
Not counting it.
Yeah, but that game came, and I didn't even realize it happened until afterwards. It was like, you called 32 straight runs. I was like, not really, but did we win? That's all that matters. So.
And this all happened. I mean, it's 111,000 fans. Millions of people are watching also on TV. What do you learn about yourself in that moment?
The moment's not too big, that I could do it, that. I got a great group of people around me, players and coaches and staff, and that was the coolest thing, is just the support that was for, not only for me, but for the players, and to watch the players react to me being in that situation, and the coaches react, and it was just like, let's do it. Whoever's leading the helm, we're gonna go do whatever we can for Michigan.
We saw the emotions that you had after the game. I mean, where was that coming from?
Yeah, it came from, learning that you could be the head coach 90 minutes before the game, everything that the players have been through all year, and really just the hard work that was put in to know that, we had a goal that we set in January of putting another banner up there. And I remember in spring ball we talk about, it's been since 1997 that banner has been put up. So just to know that dream was still alive was super fun.
How was preparation or going into the Ohio State game a little bit different, because obviously you have time to know and prepare that you're going to be the head man, but that game is so different and unique.
Yeah, that game we prepare for 365, so it's something that we're always preparing for. It was just that now you have to prepare to make the decisions, go for it, not go for it, kick a field goal, timeout. So I think from that perspective, that was the biggest piece for me. From a play calling standpoint, the game plan has been set, and we kind of make adjustments, but we really, for me it was, all right, when how am I going to call this game? Is it going to be aggressive? Is it going to not be aggressive? And we called it pretty aggressive in that game, and came out for the good guys.
Right. So flash me forward to, you win a national championship, and it's just uncertainty. We don't know if Jim's coming, staying, going. When do you find out that he has taken a job in the NFL with the Chargers?
Yeah, so I think I was in Houston. So I talked to him a couple times before, and I knew he was there, and he said, yeah, it might happen. We don't know when, I don't know. And I'm going through baggage, to take through TSA, and I look at my phone, and it said Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers. So I get a call from Doug, our chief of staff, AD, and he says, hey, you need to get another plane back here, ASAP. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's when I found out, and came and interviewed the next day.
Describe that. It was basically a 48-hour period that you go from acting head coach in 4 games to the head coach at the University of Michigan.
Yeah, very humbling. I'm extremely blessed for this opportunity, but it was wild. Not a lot of sleep, just a lot of preparation for that moment, and trying to figure out, make sure all the questions would be answered, and let them understand that they'd be in good hands if they gave me the opportunity. Yeah,
what's the pitch or the promise that you make to Ward Manuel when you're in an interview like that?
Yeah, that I'm going to give everything I got for Michigan, for the players, for the program, for the alumni, to make sure that we're successful and we continue the tradition and the trajectory that we're on.
So when you get to find out that you have the job, do you call mom? Are you sitting back, and are you at the
yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to feel that moment from your perspective.
I sat there for a little bit and said a prayer, but yeah, mom got the call right away. Family got the call right away, and just very humbled. And my mom started crying. My dad started crying. My grandma, called my grandma. she started, just the whole family, just super excited. My daughter told me congratulations, and then she said, I'm the boss now, my 4-year-old. So that was humbling, but it was truthful. I kind of already know that she is a boss. So, but it was a great moment and just super excited.
Yeah. And then I guess the next step is really having a conversation with your team. What do you tell them in that first meeting as you're taking over?
The crazy thing is, like, I didn't have a team meeting with the players until I got back off the road from recruiting. And it was just the same message that I've always given them, that I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that they're successful, that we're successful, that we continue to win on and off the field, and stop at nothing to do it. And I always got their back, and I love them. I'm going to coach them hard and love them harder. That's always been my philosophy in coaching, and we'll continue to do that.
What was it like knowing that they backed you 100% to get the job? That's got to be a humbling thought.
It was, it's unexplainable. I heard from every outlet, from the players, from the other coaches, from Ward, from alumni, that, like, if you don't get it, we're gonna leave, we're gonna do this. I'm like, first of all, guys, just calm down. Like, but so it's an awesome feeling to know that you have their support.
And you said several times, like, listen, I'm not Jim Harbaugh, I'm not coach.
Yeah.
I'm Sherrone, I'm this coach. So where did the differences lie? How does the program look, or is it going to feel different moving into this era?
From the style of play and how we play and what we do on the field and the product that we put out, we're going to be the same tough physical mentality that we have on all three phases we're going to do. But I wear J's more. I like music. So those different things, those different flavors, the aesthetics of things in the building are a little different, but from the core principles of how we operate will be the same.
What kind of music?
All types.
Okay.
Sometimes it's R&B, sometimes it's hip hop, sometimes it's like EDM, like you're in a club. It just depends, and sometimes it's jazz.
Okay, so we won't be shocked to hear it at practice at some point.
No,
we're going to hear
no.
Okay,
everything will go on, and try to keep the boys live and keep them entertained. So.
What was the hardest part about assembling a staff? Because I think that's the next big piece of, like, taking over your program. What is that like?
Yeah, I think the hardest part was, keeping all the guys you wanted to try to keep, and then finding the right fits of guys that will fit the program and fit the profile of the type of coach we need here. And I think we've done that. I think we've done that at a high level. And that was probably the hardest part for me, is assembling staff, especially the first time. It's not hard in getting candidates here because people want to be at Michigan, but it's just making sure you get the right fits.
Are you still going to play call?
We'll see.
Okay, TBD. TBD.
Yeah.
What do you think the Sherrone that was wearing the Butler uniform in community college would say about the man that sits before me today?
Ooh, that's a good question. That you accomplished goals that you never thought you would, but you worked hard and did it the right way. So, and then continue to push, continue to strain. I always told myself to strain when I was playing, and continue to do that now.
And the last thing I have, we looked at your LinkedIn and saw that it still says, assistant at the University of Michigan. Are we going to update it? Are we going to change it? Or you probably don't need it anymore. Listen.
I don't know. I haven't been on LinkedIn in a long time. And I think the last time I did it maybe 2 years ago. I don't know if I'll get back on LinkedIn or not. We'll see.
And did you ever imagine that this was going to be the role? Like, was this the goal?
No, never. I was talking to a player the other day, and they asked me, like, what was your goal, like, coaching? And I was like, honestly, it was just to be the best coach I could be. And when I first came here, this was the last thing on my mind. Is like, I'm going to be the head coach at Michigan one day. Like, that was the last thing on my mind. So, no, it was never the goal, but I am so glad that I'm here now.
All right, so you win a national championship for the first time in 26 years, but your quarterback's leaving, guys like Roman, Jr., Blake.
Yeah.
How are you going to replace some of that leadership and really productivity that you lose from your team a season ago? Yeah,
the leadership part, it's really cool because we've built this culture, this brotherhood that I think guys understand what it takes to be a leader. I think it really started with Aiden Hutchinson and James Ross, what they did here. Andrew Vistardis, Hassan Haskin, that group really set the precedent of what a leader at Michigan is supposed to be. And then all these guys have just followed suit The Blake Corums, the Mikeys, the Trevors, the Zenners, the Mike Barretts, Chris Jenkins, the captains we had last year. You know, it was cool. Like last year, we said we know who the captains are going to be, but we know who the leaders are, and we had leaders in each room. So we've continued to have great leadership with the guys we have now, and it's really cool to just watch these guys take this into fruition and go attack it now. So it's really cool. And then as far as production, you know, every year's a new year, so we know that we're going to have to replace guys, but we got a lot of great players here and excited to watch them flourish.
Do you think you get this job if you don't beat Ohio State last year?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably not, but I'm glad we did.
Right. You don't have to think about it.
I don't have to think about that one.
And last but not least, do you own any khakis? What is our game day attire going to look like? Have you thought about this?
I'm not a khaki person. Lululemon, I do have those. I usually rock Lululemon joggers. When it gets cold, I'll rock a vest with a tighter shirt underneath it. But I haven't thought about the top yet for the game day, but that'll have to come into consideration in the summertime.
You got to figure it out because, you know, like Spurrier the visor, Jim the khakis, Sherrone the...
Yeah, right now people would probably say the vest that I have.
Okay.
And that'll be the puffy vest. But when it's warmer outside, I got to figure out the look.
You got to think of something.
Yeah,
We're always concerned about the look.
I know.